Well, hello there, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages. My name is Dogboat333, and welcome back to the front in HoI 4, the New Order Last Days of Europe. Now, in the last video, we beat the last pocket of resistance in Samara, and then we beat up some Finnish people, like we always do in all these games. Now, we have a new Soviet state. While Zhukov is an adept military strategist and an extremely charismatic figurehead, the fact remains that he largely is apolitical and apathetic to what path the front takes diplomatically. Seeing an opportunity for power and the chance to reform the Soviet Union's way see fit, a number of politicians vie for control. Sergei Akhramiev, the Orthodox politician and staunch Bukharinist, supports the policy of war communism but advocated phasing it out. Open to collaboration with the OFN, Akhramiev is willing to do almost anything to ensure that Bukharin's polity continues to exist and thrive in Russia. Nikolai Rozov, a pragmatic Leninist, also supports phasing out war communism in the coming years. A believer in democratic elections, as soon as the emergency is over, he will reshape Russia in the wake of Zhukov's death in the coming years. Alexander Yakovlev, the closest man to a capitalist in the front, supports limited privatization, free and open trade, and halting war communism as soon as possible. Yakovlev is also notable in his staunch support of free and open elections and receiving aid from the OFN. So we have a pretty solid balance of power between the factions. Possible reforms of bureaucracy can be seen as below. We can appease a couple factions to get a little extra influence. So let's go ahead and check out these guys. Check these guys out a little bit. Our head of government is Telian. I don't know if there's much to him. I think I said I'd read these guys, so I think I'll do it now. In 1923, Alexander Nikolaevich Yakovlev was born into a family of 5. Conscripted into the Red Army in 1941, he served as a commander of a rifle platoon, fighting in battles around Leningrad. Though he was a great admirer of Bukharinism at the time, seeing as the only hope against the fascists of the world, his experiences in the aftermath of war changed him. Becoming a member of the Communist Party in 1944, he chose to leave the army with the collapse of the Soviet Union, demoralized by the outcome of the war. Finding himself in the lands of a West Russian Revolutionary Front, he eventually came to learn of a deal made by the front with the gulags of Vorkuta to send them prisoners in exchange for coal. Infuriated by the arrangement and no longer able to truly believe in Bukharism, Yakovlev joined the government of the front, determined to change it from within. After Suvorov fell, Zhukov convinced the capable Yakovlev to join him in Utka, where he now hopes to convince Zhukov in turn and bring down war communism and Bukharism both through him, and in turn create a democratic system for governance in Russia. Interesting. From here we get next, born in 1929 into the family of a miner from the village of Dzerzhensk in the Ukrainian SSR, Nikolai Ivanovich Rozov was fascinated by engineering, technology, and industry from a young age. Before he could begin his formal studies, however, the collapse of the Union caused him to flee east towards the front, where he studied engineering at one of the few colleges still available. Finishing his studies just after the failure of Suvorov and near the collapse of the front, he again fled towards what remained of it, eventually finding himself in Utka, where he distinguished himself quickly and caught Zhukov's attention. As such, he was put in charge of the economic and industrial organization of Utka despite his young age, proving to be instrumental in the success of that project. Now, just like Zhukov, he has his eyes on bigger things. Zhukov strongly believes that war communism should be phased out and that a civilian government following Leninist lines should eventually be reestablished. So we got Sochdem, Volipsoch, and now the Offsoch. Sergei Fyodorovich Akhramiev, born in 1923 into a peasant family from the village of Vendray near Tambov. His mother divorced his father in 1928 and took her children to Moscow. As he grew up, Akhramiev decided to enter military service and in 1940 graduated from the first special naval school in Moscow. After next completing a course in the Frunze Higher Naval School, he fought as part of a cadet rifle battalion on the Leningrad front, where he was wounded. In 1942, he enrolled in the 2nd Astrakhan Infantry School and graduated the same year, being made commander of a rifle platoon of the 197th Army Reserve Regiment of the 28th Army, and continued to rise through the ranks of the regiment. By 1944, he found himself commander of a motorized battalion, but by then, the war was lost. To Akhramiev, however, and to many others, it never truly ended. As the following collapse of the Soviet Union meant that many positions needed to be filled by capable members, he quickly found himself a member of the general staff. Assigned to work with Zhukov during Operation Suvorov, Akhramiev became somewhat like a protege to him. Even after the operation failed, remained aims him second in command. Seeing civilian government as unable to handle the times to come, he's a strong advocate for a state led by the Red Army and strict adherence to war communism. Good to know. Good to know who we're dealing with. I'm looking at everything we want to do. We might want to do at least. We got some good options going here. Well, we gotta start off with a new economic... Actually. Let's restore the administrative divisions. Avoid making any big decisions quite yet. Yeah, let's do some restrain our state first. Before defeating the war, the front controlled great swaths of territory across western Russia. Now our glorious Red armies have claimed much of this territory for us. Yet as it stands, our presence in these regions consists of little more than military occupation, leaving the people without local government. In order to assert our control of these areas and consolidate the front, it would be advisable for us to restore the old administrative divisions of the West Russian Revolutionary Front, reassuring the people that we have returned for good. There we go. Economy. Construction, we're doing... Oh no. That's not nice to see. We beat them up too badly. Pact Observer. There are Marionettenstadt over there. Finland's just kind of... Finland's not vibing right now. Okay, so I want to see if we still don't have any construction going then. We have some interesting choices. We really do. Well, of course, we kind of got to, prepare. Ooh, interesting. I'm just going to look over this really quickly, just because I want to get an idea. Army of the People, holy shit, that is nice. And then this is going to be interesting. We'll formally denounce the German Reich. I'm pretty sure the Far East is going to be doing the Socialist International. So let's go ahead and restore Communist Party B membership. It is the Bolshevik All-Union Communist Party which took power in the October Revolution 1917, which formed the Soviet Union. Any attempt to reconstitute the Soviet Union must by necessity incorporate the party members of the party of Lenin and Bukharin. That is why we must take the first steps towards refounding the party by bringing in old members into our administration. In a limited capacity, the front is still a military regime under Grand Marshal Zhukov, but we must look to a future beyond Soviet reunification. Well, there we go. The pragmatists. Kind of boring, but okay. Who is winning? That is the question. Widespread cronyism. Political interference, which slightly better. The political power hit is kind of worse, though. On the day of his return to office, Moshin made sure to dress his finest. Memories of sneering mockery echoed through his head as restored administrators walked into the building, flashing his entrance cards like it was studded with Fabergé eggs. As the military officers shuffled by him, hiding their ranks and names, he could barely resist a slight smile on his face from blossoming into a full-fledged grin. Yes, party member Moshin was coming back. In style. There was a table right next to his office, and on it lay several party emblems and dossiers attached. Moshin grabbed at a random one. The office goodies were always the best on the first week, and he began to flick around the fresh page of dossier like he owned the place. He always fantasized about getting a nice cushy desk job, but the jackasses who thought they ran West Russia with their guns, their stupid army kept getting in the way. Now, however, this was his town. And he got a nice promotion in the bargain, too. The office was his domain, prime and unmolested, and the officers who once bullied him were well out of the way. He'd hoped they'd all have their fingers rot off in the snow. Moshin plopped himself in the office, and gorging himself on the biscuit stash he'd found on the way in, was half supine when the security staff came to escort him out. Protesting, Moshin snapped that he was a bureaucrat now, damn it. Georgy Zhukov had kicked the army out and men like him in. Who are they to defy authority? Rolling their eyes, the staff asked him to return on Monday. The offices were closed on Sunday, apparently. Murmuring, they retreated, leaving a humiliated Moshin to walk all the way back to his home. At least he kept the free pen. Well, that's a little awkward, but hey, what are you going to do? Ooh. Interesting. So far, no real balance of power. This is interesting. Okay, so I'm going to try something. We're going to go ahead and emphasize the people's role. In the age of warlordism and fascist insanity, we must remember the gains of October, universal suffrage, abolition of classes, and power to the worker. It's always been the intention of Lenin that the party should be the voice and sword of the people, the military party rule and lead on their behalf. While the military necessities of the front make any ideas of democracy difficult, we would do good to remember what it is exactly we have been fighting for all these long years, the Soviet people. So I want to see if we end up siding a little bit more with, actually I guess I can do it right here now. No? We have the political power. We don't have Rezov's, options, though, anymore. That's quite interesting, actually. Let's get the doctrines back and going. Examine the people's role. Let's get working down to educating the people, actually. So, starting off, we'll go ahead and do the new economic policy. The failures of war communism are manifest. While the armies enrich, our people starve in the streets. While the street is bloated with economic planners trying to put the fires out, the sheer attrition of a system starts new infernos all the time. While the country burns, in other words, only a few benefit. And it is power, not prosperity, that this system creates. We will be hypocrites no longer. For limited expansion of free market operations in our domain, our market will not suffer from chronic shortages, and our people will be free from chronic want. It is the way forward for Russia, and so it will be our policy, too. Jet engines. Next we can get working on some fighters. Okay, so let's see what we can do now. Let's go ahead and eliminate trade tariffs. Why not? Go ahead and appease the Acromia faction a little bit. And the Zhukov faction. Because I might bounce around a little bit just to see some of these neat little bonuses we can get for all of them. Let's get some modernized source extraction techniques. It's time we go back to the old days of Soviet Union, Bukharin, and re-implement one of the oldest ideas in the book, the new economic policy. While maybe going against our roots of total socialism, the same problem was apparent 30 years ago and solved by the new economic policy, at least somewhat. Implementing a system of limited free markets still under state control will be necessary if we want to build up the economy of West Russia. Ending the nationalization of industry will possibly be hurting our productivity in the short term. We'll see if it have long-term positive impact and possibly even larger growth. It appears a mixed economy is the way forward, and while we will continue to control what is necessary, private control will get a few things off our hands that we have no need to control. Unnecessary sacrifice. Now let's go ahead and educate the people. Public education drives everything. It owns the youth and prepares them for entry into the proletariat workforce of tomorrow. It pushes men and women, the brightest of their generation, to education where they can impart their learning to those who can carry the torch. And in doing so, it improves the quality of our public industry, research, and all-around public life. We must pivot to secondary and primary education, give our people knowledge of more than the rifle and the farming tool. Give our country a future worth fighting for. It has more taxable population, better changes to the academic base, research facilities, monthly poverty, a bit more GDP cost, which is never the best, but we're building up something great here, so we gotta do what we gotta do. I'm gonna see if I can up our construction budget and start getting a few factories going. It doesn't look like I can. It's worth a shot. You know, I think I'll up our civilian budget then. There we go. We got one factory, baby. That's what I'm talking about. One old factory. Building stuff. You know, Rome wasn't built in a day. So, you know, we gotta work on that. We're getting there. Let's go ahead and rebuild the bureaucracy. A recent expansion of the front has put severe strain on state bureaucracy, with hundreds of administrators being sent out to govern our new territories. At our capital in Zhukov, the central government is experiencing a severe manpower shortage. The situation has reached a level where our efforts to cement our control of West Russia has been seriously hampered as a result. We need to rebuild the state bureaucracy from the ground up. This is neat. I like how this is set up. For ZFR. I guess with ZRF is what the West Russian Revolutionary Front in Russian. If I had a guess, at least. What do we want to do? Either or. Let me do. Okay, I like liberalizing the appointment criteria better. So, there are a great many men in our newly conquered territories who are former bureaucrats once embedded in the various warlord states. Despite many being associated with quite unsavory regimes, such men can be of great use to our cause by helping us refill our depleted state bureaucracy. All of them will obviously have to be screened and some excluded from possible employment, but the bulk will be of use. Under our guidance, they will learn to serve a new master, the Soviet people. We have to learn to forgive, I think. France sides with Italy. Not a big shock there. Our army professionals is about to go up. Beautiful. I love to see that. Our literacy as well is going up at a very, very great rate. Speeds both of these factions a little bit. Oop. Almost skipped that event. That would have been nice. The new arrival was shown to his desk by an assistant who smiled and asked him if he needed anything else before leaving him at his new post. He was pleasantly surprised as the new office space was bigger than the one he had worked in before, when he was an archivist in the Tsar's administration in Vyaka. He somehow always expected that the front was stingy with this kind of thing, and he would somehow be working on bond with 10 other men. He was surprised that he got the job at all. When their army had taken the city, he had been sure that he and all the other bureaucrats would be executed along with high-up Tsarist officers, but it was not to be. Instead, they offered him a job, letting him work as an archivist for the Red Army's Central Statistics Directorate. They either desperately needed competent bureaucrats, or the front really did rule with a very light hand. Either way, he was happy to have work. Better than being at the bottom of a ditch like the Tsar and his generals. All have a place in New Russia, except for the Tsar and his generals. Of course. How's the construction coming along? Pretty nicely, actually. That's looking a lot better. Man, someone needs to get their brakes checked. Damn. I could hear that from out there. Let's uplift socialist values. Prior to the arrival of the Red Army, many of the territories we now control were in the hands of Tsarist Nazi collaborators and other reactionaries. They've sadly spread their poisonous backwards ideas amongst portions of the civilian population. We'll have to put considerable resources into agitational propaganda to sway the people in these regions over to our cause, instill in them an understanding of loyalty to socialist values. We're confident that with time, the people will remember the lessons of October. Let's do it. Running a bit of a higher deficit than we otherwise would be, but hopefully that will help get our economy a little bit more up and running. I think we might go ahead and wait a little bit until we get the max political power before we end war communism, just because I don't like all those bad benefits to war communism. I think let's go ahead, get working on legislating minority autonomy. One of the immense strengths of the old Soviet system was its emphasis on federalism and national self-determination. It's time to show the ethnic and national minorities in our territories that we are not great Russian chauvinists who seek to rob them of their rights and liberties. We'll establish the Bashkir and Tatar autonomous Soviet socialist republics, winning the loyalties of Bashkir and Tatar peoples, and making clear to all the ethnic and national minorities that we are on their side. Ironic. He could save a nation from death, but not his administration. State of Israel. Who are they leading? Begin. Okay. Alright, they went... Oh, no. I know they went democracy, but, Mamma mia. Not piano solo. Reichstadt is still doing better than it probably should be. They got Uganda free. The monthly population is kind of I might do this otherwise, but that monthly population hit. Not the biggest fan of that. I'll be honest. Fully honest. Transparent. All that good stuff. Could be better. Let's stress Soviet egalitarianism. Many claim that the front has a long way to go on women's rights, but such people forget the inherently feminist nature of our socialist system and the great gains that October won for Soviet women. The Soviet Union was one of the first countries in the world to grant women equal rights to men, women equal status to men in all legal matters, divorce upon request, and full rights to vote and participate in politics. Women should be equal to Soviet society today. We should not forget this as we fight to liberate women across the Russian warlord states. These both of these factions a little bit. How's our timer coming? We got another 10 minutes. Not bad at all. So I'm doing 40-minute long parts for these, just to mix things up a little bit. Never thought I could laugh like that again. Not quite the 45-minute long parts that I'm used to making, or that you guys are used to, but figured I'd mix it out a little bit. Basic jet fighters, let's get them going. Now, basic close air support. There we got our research slots available. We've marched across the breadth of Russia, from Archangel to Yaroslav. We've broken the back of every army that never dared to challenge us. The revolution is our heartbeat, and with its every pulse we grow stronger. We shall not stop at nothing to realize the socialist paradise. But this alone is insufficient, for while the banner of the Red October flies over our homeland, in the working place and family home, as if the Tsar never left. Yes, comrades, just as we were unrelenting towards the fascism that poisoned Russia's soil, so too must we be unrelentingly vigilant towards the hometown fascism of gender inequality. Consider, comrades, the list of restrictions that we've removed in the liberated areas under our control. The socialist woman now holds the right to public office. The socialist woman now holds the right to vote in revolutionary elections. The socialist woman now holds the right to compulsory primary education. The socialist woman now holds the right to equal workforce representation. The socialist woman now holds the right to join union activities. The socialist woman now holds the right to domestic litigation. Comrades, it's clear that the liberation of the Soviet woman is at hand. The capitalist marauder limps to its cave, but he's not quite done oppressing the women he fears. Let us prepare to mount resistance to his evil acts, whenever we can. Signed, the Gender Revolutionary Working Group. There we go. Next we could appease to the populists. Let's fund the sciences first, though. The sciences are the key to not just innovations in all fields of research. It's a science that dictates how efficiently the tank of soldier moves, and how much work can be done by a workers' brigade without stopping. Drives the tactics of our frontline troops and ignites our ties with the outside world, as our research community links with the cream of a global intellectual crop. If socialism is not driven by people of science, why bother calling the immortal science at all? For this reason, and all the others listed above, we will heavily invest into research and development and build a nation that looks ever into the future. There we go. Yakovlev has a pretty solid lead. I might swing it a little bit. Oh, God. My guilt is that I am still here. That is my guilt. Franz Stangl. The whore. The whore. How many of these guys are there? What? Were there... What's that? 300. I keep it 300 like the Romans. 300 bitches were the children. That's 300. 304? Is he the 304th Kafula Musungu Sitabunku? What the fuck? Speer, where are you? Oh, God. Africa's not had a very good game. I think that's actually trending towards a generation of workers. We must never neglect the source of our power. It would be even more foolish than a tank brigade ignoring the fuel on which it runs on, at least for the fuel tanks that can be replaced. The trust of our workers, once gone, is almost impossible to replenish. Thankfully, we're tracing the patterns of worker efficiency with the innovations in organization and labor standards. We are building an integrated industry network that will truly stand with the best in Russia. We're not ones to sit around being complacent either. Our old union structure, while moribund, can always be kicked into assistance in upgrading the skills of our factory workers. I want to move up to Akromiev just for a little bit, just to check out a bit of a difference there. Just move some pressure away from Yakovlev. Better industrial equipment. POG. That's always nice to see. A generation of workers. Next, let's focus on the wealth of the motherland. Yeah, the wealth of the motherland. Vast timber fields in every direction. Acres upon acres of farmland. Enormous wealth hidden just below the surface. The Rodina is vast, and so are her resources. And the people of the Union shall use as many of these gifts as they can to free themselves from the Nazi menace, and to return her land to the toilers that live off of it. Beautiful. I'm trying to figure out, I've been thinking a little bit, because they've been revealing some stuff about Cold War hotpoints. Like, West Africa, for example, there's going to be a lot of battles over there that the other faction, the world powers, can intervene in. Sionan, Malaysia, has one of those as well. Social turn interesting. The Philippines is going to be a big conflict when Toolbox Theory drops. I think they said Venezuela will be. If not, I mean, look at all these fucking states. There's going to be some shit hopping up in there. So I've been trying to figure out what's going to be what are some other conflict zones that might pop up. Peru, I don't think, has that many states to distinguish itself. Maybe something in India for filler content. That could work. That could be up to, that could be in the future. And also, we still have a far way to go. A long way to go still. And yet, you know, I'm not. That's okay. But we're gonna get that anyway. I think I'll avoid all those. It was interesting to see, but still. Unification stuff starts in 69. Nice. So we might have to avoid moving on to the unification process to the next stage for a while, just because, damn, we got plenty of time. Let's appeal to the populace. We need to show the civilians in our newly occupied territories that we are different from the callous warlords and fascist fanatics who once ruled over them. The front fights for the Soviet people. It cares deeply for security and welfare. For this reason, we must introduce increased pensions, ensuring that the old and infirm are not only protected physically from foreign threats by the Red Army, but also protected socially from the deprivations that they previously faced. Such measures will go a long way to appealing to the populace of Western Russia. There goes Salazar. And then we might get working towards a new age of culture. Let's see, what next? What next? Maybe extract some more resources. That might be nice. We'll have to take a little while to figure out how much nicer it can be, it seems. Because I gotta get out of here, folks. Thank you so much for watching, however. If you like this video, leave a like. If not, feel free to dislike. If you want to see more of this content feature, hit the sub button. For uploads every weekdays, occasionally every Saturday. If you want to be really up to date, maybe even hit the notification bell. Have a comments, feedback, concern, comment section below is the place to leave them. I read all the comments I get and appreciate any all feedback you might have for me. If you want to chat, play games, things of the sort, check out my Discord. If you want to send me bucks my way, check out my Patreon. If you want to see me do sort of live on Twitch, I'll put you down in the description box below. That's really it for now, boys. Thank you as always for watching. My name has been DB333. I'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye.